Hi, this is Ms. Perez, and I will be showing you how to complete this discussion using a typing explanation down here. I am Ariana Grande, and this is my explanation. I've already written it, but I want to reiterate or emphasize that what I did was I explained how to go from one location to another, but I use the same exact transformations as Sandy Waves, the student above me. That's not going to work out. I can't use the exact same um, transformations as another person, so I have to change mine. Even though maybe I made it up on my own, I have to realize, okay, this is the exact same movements as another student. So I need to be unique, and that goes back to the rubric. I must emphasize to look at this grading rubric so you know where you're getting your points. If you do not have a unique answer, then you cannot get credit for the next four. So out of all of these, you would just be getting 1 point correct. So make sure your answer is unique. And like I said, if you're running out of options, if you know you're like the 50th student that has answered this discussion, just make one wrong movement. So for example, in this student, Sandy Waves, say you went up 3 and then went to the right one and then flipped and then went down. So, you went a little bit too far and over, but then you had to, backtrack. That's okay. That's a unique movement because it's not exactly the same. So, if it takes you longer to get to where you're going by going up too many and over, um, that's okay. Just backtrack down. Your extra is so you'll have 4 steps you had to go down to. But just make sure yours is unique in some way, even if maybe you start off by going to the left first and then to the right. So something like that, just some ideas. Okay, so this explanation isn't going to work. I'm not going to get the rest of the points for my discussion. So I really want to come up with something original, something unique. So I'm going to get rid of that. And you might want to have this, available to see, or maybe open up another document so you can have both of them up. However you want to complete this. So I can pretty clearly see it here, but if I wanted to, I could click on it. Or let's see. First, I could copy and paste. If you wanted to type directly in the image so you could see it, you can. If you want to type below it for your explanation, you certainly can. I'm going to type in the Google Drawing though, so I'm going to double click and I'm going to make a text box. So click on text box and just make it however big you think you need it. If you do use the explanation, written explanation, just make sure to be thorough. Use complete sentences, proper grammar, punctuation, so we can give you full credit. Okay, so complete sentences, be thorough, give enough details so we know where you're going. Okay, so instead of going up, I'm just going to flip it right away. Like I said, you can tell that the orientation or the position of the X has been flipped. So I'm just gonna flip it right away. So I'm gonna say the first thing I would do is instead of using kind of a math slang of flip, I'm gonna actually use the correct term. You could say flip, but in parentheses, I really would like you to put reflect. Oops. Is flip / reflect the red box over the blue line. And as I stated in the previous video, this isn't the exact same problem as your discussion. I changed it a little bit just so you could have more unique situations. So this isn't the exact same problem, but similar procedure. So the first thing I would do is flip / reflect the red box over the blue line. And just kind of explain where that would, where would it land you, and how do you know that? So since a reflection is equal distance from the line of reflection, what that means, if you're not sure what that means, you go back in your tutorial and kind of review. That means when I reflect an image over a line, it's the same. When I reflect it, it's going to be the same distance away. So this is my line of reflection. So since I'm 2 boxes away, then it's also going to be, when I reflect it over this line, it's going to be 2 boxes away. So my figure is actually going to be way over here, right? It's not exactly where it needs to be, but at least my X is in the right location. It's on the right-hand side. So when I do this reflection, the X is going to move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So let me finish this. Since a reflection is equal distance from the line of reflection, the X reference point, which this is the X reference point right here, okay, is now on the right side of the rectangle. And we'll say, so since it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the X is 3 spaces away, right? Same thing, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this space right here. That's where it's going to be, right here. Reference point is now on the right side of the rectangle, 3 spaces from the line. So, you might think, typing this out might be a little bit easier, but honestly, you just need to be more detailed, because a teacher can't visually see what you're doing, your movements. So this might be a little bit harder just because you have to be a little bit more detailed, whereas the drawing, you can kind of just show us what you're doing instead of having to explain it to us in sentences. So it's still whatever your preference is, whatever you're most comfortable with, however you want to express yourself is perfectly fine. Just make sure to be thorough and, detailed enough so a teacher can correctly grade and give you the points you need or you deserve. Okay, so from there, I'm going to say, I'm going to translate it up to. So just so you guys can see where I'm at, I'm just going to show you. So right now, my figure should be right here with the X spot right here. This is where my X is. Now I'm going to say now, next, I would move the rectangle up 2 units. And when I just say up, that's fine, but I also want you to put in that it's called a translation, right? Translation. Okay. And lastly, I would translate, or I could just say move the rectangle to the left by 1. And again, this is a translation. I can't seem to spell rectangle right. There we go. Okay. And when I do that, so I'm just going to get rid of these 2 things. So when I do that, so I moved it up. So it says next I would move the rectangle up 2 units. So I'd go 1, 2, it'd be right there. And lastly, I'd move the rectangle to the left by 1. Boom. So there I am with my X in the correct spot. So that's how you would type it out. It might be easier, honestly, the way I did it, just typing in next to the drawing so you can see it as you're typing and making sure it's correct. But like I said, you don't need to. You can, certainly have your explanation down here, right? You can have it down here if you want, if that works out for you. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it in the, I like it next to the picture, but either way is fine. All right, so your job is to just go down, find an empty spot, make sure to put your name, and then choose which way you want to complete this assignment, whether it's a written explanation or using the Google Draw. Okay? If you have any questions, just let a math teacher know, and we will be happy to help you. I'm just going to reiterate, look at this grading rubric so you can earn full credit. Okay, thank you. Bye.